20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Heat the tip for a tasty rip. Heat the base to launch to space.
Greetings.
Hello. And welcome to DynaVap Live. Today is October 15th. We have a very special show today. We're going to be talking about the 2020 M's. We have some awesome, very cool guests with us today. Jerry from Planet of the Vapes. Troy of 420 Vape Zone. I'm Retail Josh.
And I'm George.
And let's get on with the show. But first, let's do some shout outs from the chat.
Well, Tony Lee's here. All right.
Yeah.
Zodicus. What's up, Vape Nerd? Vape Nerd Zodicus is in the house.
We got Walter from Poland, it looks like.
Yeah.
Warclaw Poland, huh?
Wow.
George
Worldwide.
Lopez is here. Right on.
We got Vermillion from Lakeville, Minnesota.
J-Dog, Jimmy Schmidt.
J-Dog.
I got Jacob from northern British Columbia.
Hello, hard keyboard.
I like Trigger Hippie. That's cool, man.
And they're from Miami. So we want to thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate that. If you have any beginner-related questions, let us see them. Just use the hashtag #FirstClick in the chat. We'd love to get those answered for you. Make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell so that way you're always notified when we release new content such as this. And also check out our Instagram page. We're constantly doing really cool stuff on there. On Monday, we're going to be doing a pumpkin art contest, so be sure to check that out. Also, make sure that you subscribe to the Troy and Jerry Think Dank, as well as 420 Vape Zone's YouTube channel as well. Really crucial parts of the community. And speaking of the community, let's thank them as a whole. Let's thank the Dynaverse.
Let's thank the Dynaverse. And speaking of Dynaverse, we'll put a link up there for you. SC Forum, /Vaporance.
Yep, /DynaVap, Vapor Asylum.
Right on.
420 Vape Zone is a really cool community as well.
Yes, it is.
And yeah, check out that Discord link that's in the chat. There's a lot of cool things going on there, such as the collaborative art project, which we'll get to a little bit later on in the show.
As well as awesome people just talking about movies, music, games, just cool things. And it's a really nice, comfortable, positive environment. We really put a huge emphasis on keeping it positive in the Dynaverse.
100%.
Please.
It's important. Like, as humans, we want to move forward with more positive humans. We make that natural decision.
Yeah.
Why tolerate negative people in our life?
It's so much easier to destroy than it is to create. And so we want to try to keep more of a creative focus on it.
Let's create some awesomeness together.
Yeah, and so, and part of that community is the community tab on our channel. Every time we ask a new question, we asked, what color are you most excited for with the 2020 M's? Azurium was the #1 choice.
Wow. Not surprising.
Now, George, what is your favorite out of all of these in both the creation and the release of?
Well, I would say it would be the Azurium, but it's because of that hidden superpower, which we're going to get into. If you're not aware of it yet, well, you'll be finding out about that shortly.
Yep. And what about you, Jerry?
Rosium. I love the Rosium, man. I thought it was great the first time around. I was bumming when it ran out and you weren't getting them again, and I was like, you got to bring that back.
I remember you reached out to me with that.
Yeah, when you guys brought it back this year, I was like, well done. And this one's even better, brighter, more color spectrum, more vibrant. I'm in love with that one already, man. It's dope.
And how about you, Troy?
As much as I love the Azurium, and I want to have like 100 of them or 1,000 of them in my house to play with, like a wall of Azuriums to get creative, I got to go with the Rosium. The Rosium, like Jerry said, the Rosium has so much character. It comes out more this year than it did in the 2019. There's so much diversity in the color, especially in the tip with the contours. Yeah. It's amazing.
It's just vibrant, isn't it?
I carried it with me just to show people.
And we did something really cool this year
showpiece.
with the color M's. The caps were colored after they were completely done, completely finished. So the logo is going to be a compatible color with each device. And the logo will not discolor differently than the rest of the cap.
Oh, nice.
So last year, we coated all the caps and then, or we had all the caps coated as blanks, and then we laser cut them and engraved them and serialized them and then finished them up. So we lasered off the coating, which made for a real nice contrast, and the cap was brand new. But then stainless does as stainless does, and it turns brown-ish, depending on how you heat it.
Okay.
And I like these colors in the fact that they don't have a lot of brown in them.
I love them. That's mine.
Yep, and so check out, be part of that community. We do community events, one that we're going to be doing soon, actually tomorrow at 6 p.m. We're going to be doing another watch party. We're going to be watching Silence of the Lambs. We'll recap that a little bit more towards the end. I think now is a good time to see what Donna has to say in the Wholesale Spotlight.
Fun, Donna?
Welcome to DynaVap Wholesale Spotlight. I'm Fun Donna, National Account Manager for DynaVap. Today we're featuring 2 DynaVap Wholesale partners, Vaping Studios and Planet of the Vapes. Vaping Studios is in Hopkins, Minnesota, just west of the Twin Cities. They carry vaporizers, accessories, vaping juice, and of course DynaVap. If you're in the area, stop by and say hello to Josh and take a look at their store. Second wholesaler we're featuring today is Planet of the Vapes. They're an online store physically located in North America and serve customers worldwide. Some of you may know Jerry from the Troy and Jerry Think Dank YouTube show. If you would like to see the array of vaping products that they carry, please visit planetofthevapes.com. Thank you for joining us, and if you have a shop in your area you would like to see on our website, send their information to jeff@dynavap.com.
Yes.
And
Cool.
welcome
Please.
back. And
right.
so be sure to check out Planet of the Vapes. That's where you can find a lot of Jerry's work with the blog and everything else on there. Also check out that Vaping Studios. They have a lot of cool promotions. I'd recommend looking them up, hitting up their website, and check them out. And so I think now is a really kind of, before we get into the main topic, I want to talk a little bit more about the Azurium. George, with that polychromatic, how do you put it?
Okay. It's a perma-thermochromic coating, which results in, we like to call this a device with a perma-thermochromic canvas. In other words, it is for you to design and color and make it yours personally. And you can do this with a paintbrush that you probably already have that doesn't normally seem like a paintbrush. We tend to call them a torch. So applying a little bit of heat, getting some of the surfaces hot, doesn't really matter which part it is because every single part of this device is coated with that perma-thermochromic coating, and then it becomes your perma-thermochromic canvas as you apply heat to selective areas and raise that temperature.
And then was that type of finish, was that part of the design with the intention when you created it, or was it a happy little accident along the way?
With this color, absolutely. In fact, it was one of those things that initially, when we got samples of colors like this, we put it through the, we'll call it the destructive testing process that we like to take and put a lot of our products through just to make sure that they're not going to fail. And during one of the heat tests, it's like, oh, that coating's not going to work. It changes color almost instantly. And then it went on the shelf for a little while, and we decided to try it again, and got it to be a little bit more durable. And then I started playing with it a little bit. It's like, oh, wait a minute. That really makes some pretty colors. And, you know, of course, people have been doing a lot of color anodizing on their titanium, which is really awesome, but it's also a real pain. You know, whether you're looping together 9-volt batteries or you're getting a high voltage DC power supply, which if you're thinking about doing it and you're not familiar with the dangers of DC, get educated, because DC power supplies can be a little bit dangerous, especially when you start approaching the voltages necessary to get colors like green, where you got to be upwards of 130 volts DC. It can be a problem.
I'll stick to the torch.
The torch is nice.
And so this kind of leads into Shuey54's question. What process did you use to get that blue color? Is it any different than the rest of the color?
The answer is no. So all of our devices this year, as well as last year, are colorized with a process called PVD, or physical vapor deposition. It's a really cool process where the raw metal parts get cleaned. We get them as clean as we possibly can. They go into a vacuum chamber where as much of the atmosphere as is practical is evacuated out. And then we take the various coating materials and we get them hot enough that they phase change into a vapor and they condense on the surface, just like the humidity on a hot day on a cold beer.
Is it attracted to just that, or does it like cover the whole little box that it's in too?
It covers everything.
Okay.
So it's kind of a funny thing, right? So if you take, again, something cold and you breathe on it, you're going to get condensation on all of it. But here's where it gets more fun. If you look at the rosiums, you're going to notice that the coloration varies. And it varies because there's a small change in the thickness of the coating. Okay? And as the coating thickness changes, the color changes. Okay? So it's not that there's different coatings on there, there's different thicknesses of coatings. And so what you're getting is, as the light around you is literally going through the coating and bouncing off of the metal surface under the coating and coming back through, you end up with a shift in wavelength.
What? All right.
And now,
Just went off
Troy,
rails.
you already experimented with some of that color changing. When you did yours, did you go in with a plan or did you just wing it?
I did. Well, first I want to say that I love the blue so much that I had to have two because I wanted one to stay blue, even if I had never used it. But the first one I did is I used it. I packed it with flour and used it like normal just to see if it would change, and it didn't. So I attacked it with a bigger torch and had a lot of fun with it. Had a lot of fun with
It changed color.
It did. I did both ends, and I might.
Did you take the O-rings off, Troy?
Not at first.
Okay. So you did an extraction on the O-rings.
I only ruined one O-ring, and although it was ruined, it still worked.
You did it too?
Not as bad as yours.
Did we all do that?
Yours smoked, Jerry.
Mine smoked, man.
No, mine. I
Combusted.
I ruined.
It was brand new. There was nothing in it.
I was so excited. I was like, plus you get a video going and.
Yep. Heat of the moment.
Yeah, I don't know
Pun
what's
not
going on.
intended. Well, I think before we get into too much detail with the 2020 M's, I think now is a great time to show your introduction video where you get to see them close up in all that stunning detail.
Sweet.
Introducing the 2020 Colored M's. It's the 2020 M There's Ben yelling. in variations of gray, pink, and blue,
And then
Phantom,
brace.
Rosium, and Azurium. Yeah. How are they different from last year? Our most durable color, Phantom, returns with a gradient, and it's still
That's a
our most
whole
resistant
different
to heat discoloration.
process. That's
and
an
fingerprints.
enamel.
You see some blue and even some gold
Yeah, but it's gonna look
variations
like shit.
in the Phantom
Yeah.
gradient for
It's just gonna
2020.
be gray.
Rosium, a polychromatic color from last year
No
returns.
different. It's all gonna be gray.
Amplified vibrance
Because
and a broader
the-
spectrum
the-
colorization.
The coating
Every
that
single
gives us
one
Will
color
this lead
is
right
going to
into
be
the
unique.
coloration?
is so thin.
Just like the grain on a piece of exotic wood. The coloration on your Rosium 2020M is going to be unique to yours. And new for 2020, Azurium. A beautiful blue variation with a hidden superpower. This finish is a perma-thermochromic canvas. Try saying that 10 times fast. When heating each of your 2020 colored M's, you'll find each of these colors reacts differently. This color is more heat resistant and more scratch resistant than last year, but is still more delicate than the Phantom. What we can see here is the blue is our most sensitive coating. It will change color if overheated. If you want it to stay blue, please maintain more distance from your heat source to your cap. Azurium, our most delicate finish, but the trade-off is something special. In conclusion, we're very excited to share with you our 2020 Colored M's.
And welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that video there. I think now is a good time to answer a couple questions that we saw come in. Devin Oates asks, if I want to maintain the color of my caps, is an Orion, Rover, or Torch recommended for the least amount of discoloring?
Good question.
Yeah, it is good. I would generally say an induction heater is going to give you the most consistent heat with the least likelihood of discoloring the Azurium. And the Azurium is definitely the most temperature sensitive coating that we've ever had. So if you're heating this with a torch, which you can successfully do without any risk of changing the color, provided that you just simply back off and get yourself a little bit more distance between your flame and your cap. If you see make a little spot on your cap start to glow, well, you've already changed the color.
In my video example on 420vapezone.com, and it's not on YouTube at all because YouTube is weird now.
Okay.
I actually demonstrate using a small torch and an induction heater and then the big torch. So that might help you see how the color gets applied. Like induction didn't do anything for mine.
Right. Clean off that.
And then this kind of leads into the following question. What eventually happens with an Azurium after you, like, what's the final color? Like, what happens if you go too far?
So, good question. So the reason why we call it a perma-thermochromic canvas, right?
Chromic?
Is because chromic, which is relative to color. You know, chromocolor,
Not chronic.
Kodachrome,
Yeah,
right?
you need to get chronic in there.
Permachronic.
You need to
Oh,
get chronic.
permachronic. No,
Permachronic.
Permathermochromic
finish.
canvas. Say that 20 times
Can you
real fast.
get the scientists working on the permachronic technology?
Permathermochromic canvas. Permathermochromic
Get
canvas.
to it, George.
That might work. No, this is good. This is good. So the point being, once you get this coating hot enough that it starts to change color, that color change is permanent. There's no going back. Putting it in the freezer, sorry, it doesn't turn it back. This is not like those really cool shirts from back in the day that when you would get kind of warm, they would change color. No, they don't change back. So you got to be careful that you don't overshoot the color you're looking for. And we'll see if we can get more of a spectrum picture or something like that so we can more clearly describe which colors you're going to get. But in general, the blue is going to fade first and turn to a very light blue, and then eventually almost turn transparent. And then you're going to get a little bit of yellow. It's going to convert into more like a 24 karat gold, and then to a slight pink, and then a magenta, and then into the blue spectrum again. And it'll kind of tail out with one of my favorite colors, almost like a neon green.
Is it DynaVap green?
Definitely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Was that
No,
intentional?
actually, it's more like 420 Vape Zone green.
Oh, right on, right on.
420 Ted Zone.
They're a little different.
I,
They're a little different.
I'm pretty
Ted
sure
Zone.
I saw a kiln back there in Pranav's Pottery Corner. Maybe we can do some fun.
Let's play.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do that. And maybe we'll even take some video and post some pictures. And you know what? You got an Instagram channel. If you guys aren't familiar with Troy's Instagram,
I think it's 420_Vape Zone.
okay.
There's an underscore in there. Might be at the end. It might be in the middle. I got deleted,
Somewhere
and
in
then
there.
the whole thing has been like a weird.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
How annoying.
yeah. Instagram doesn't really like.
Does Instagram like you, Jerry?
Yeah, they love me.
Okay. Okay.
I put up one picture once that there was a nugget, and they took it down, and they said because I was selling stuff, and I was like, I'm not selling anything, and I got back to them. I said, I'm not selling anything. I'm just shooting a picture of this nugget, and they said, oh, okay, and they put it back up.
I've met people that don't like the word nugget the same way that people don't like the word moist. Like nugget. Is one of
Oh.
those, like,
You're not one of those, are you?
I don't
Because
care.
I'm
Like,
nuggets
nugget,
all day.
Moist.
Are there any
Really?
words that do bug you?
So you don't like
nuggets?
moist bread or moist cake?
I like moist.
I mean,
things.
just about any cake mix that I've ever seen in a box, the word moist is almost on all of them.
I know, but it freaks people out. Why do people not like the word moist when it's used so frequently on cake mixes?
What's wrong with nugget?
moist nuggets?
Nuggets.
Maybe we could make like a
I
moist
vape
nugget
nuggets all the
chocolate
time.
cake.
And so,
Leave a comment down below. What's wrong with the word moist?
And nuggets. I mean, chicken nuggets. The kids love nuggets.
Can we get some clarification?
Are chicken nuggets moist? I mean,
No,
dry
not
chicken
if they're
nuggets would be
good.
terrible, wouldn't
They'd
they?
be-
well, there's a lot of bad chicken nuggets out there.
Right.
Moist breading would be bad.
So, Josh, have we talked about where Jerry came from, or Troy?
Yeah, I think we should get into that. And so, Jerry, how did you get started in the industry?
Well, it was back in 2007. I was looking for my first vape, and I didn't want to spend $600 on a Volcano.
Why were you looking for a vape?
Because I really decided I was going to smoke, and I didn't like what it did to me.
Yeah, smoking is kind of gross, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well, I didn't know it was an option at first.
Okay.
Just somebody that I knew had a Volcano bag, and that was my first taste of vapor back in Christmas of '07, and I was hooked. I was like, I got to have that.
you and I are exact same origin story, just several years apart.
That's awesome. Did you go with the Q?
Yes.
Or right on, right on, right on.
And what about you, Troy? Like, what was your first foray into the industry, and what was your first vaporizer that you used?
I was into heavy programming and .com work, and I was addicted to Adderall, and I wanted to get off that, and I decided to use medicinal for that, and that's what got me into vaping, because I didn't want the smell of smoking, and I have kids, and I didn't want my house to have that smell, and I also don't like the smell of smoke, like when you go through a bar or something where people are smoking cigarettes.
Oh, it's awful.
And you get home and like, why does my clothes? I didn't smoke, and I smell just from being around it. I didn't want any of that, so I got into vapes, and at first I got into oil vapes and cartridges. So dry flower is where you can get actual strain selection, and strain selection was really important to me, because for medicinal use, I want something that can actually help me focus and not make me, be
Unfocused.
Yeah, unfocused.
Right.
I don't want to be low, but I don't want to be out of this world either.
You don't want to be unfocused unless you want to be unfocused.
Right on. There's a time and place for everything.
How did you put it? It was actually, I believe, the 419. It was when you were on the Modern Cannabis stream. You put it like, "Why are you?"
Why are you?
When are you?
When?
yeah,
It was
when
when
are
are
you?
you?
Yes, when
It was
are you?
When are you?
When are you, Jerry?
That was a long talk, man. I'm not sure when anymore, actually. I thought I knew.
I was thinking somewhere around now. Now is pretty awesome.
That's
Now
the
it's pretty
goal,
good.
right?
Yeah, I mean, now is pretty awesome. I'm really glad that we're all here right now. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in and
Indeed.
watching this silliness as we talk about thermal extraction devices.
Yeah, and speaking of these thermal extraction devices, if you would like to win one of these, all you have to do is guess the number of pumpkins on the set. The first 3 will get one of the colors. And I think while you're doing that, George is going to show you how to color your Azurium. So take it away, Ben.
This is a good video.
The 2020 colored M's come in 3 colors, but Azurium gets its own video. Azurium features our very special permathermochromic canvas, intentionally engineered to change color on demand. This coating empowers you with the ability to customize each component with a broad spectrum of colors. And all it takes is heat. Let me show you how it's done. I'm using the drill to help spread the heat more evenly as I apply it with a torch. And add some heat. We can see the gradient color transfer from the Azurium blue into gold, pink, rosium, kind of green and blue. It's a really cool combination of colors just by applying a little bit of heat. As you can see, the stem takes much longer than the condenser with the same torch because there's a lot more material, metal, or mass. But the color change process and principle is exactly the same. The blue has transitioned to a more transparent color initially and then converts to gold, pink, magenta, again a bluish green, and then even a more yellowish gold or even lime green, almost fluorescent. The tip, since it has much less mass than the stem, but more mass than the condenser, takes an intermediate amount of time to colorize. It still has the same interesting colors, the blue, the gold, the rosium kind of variations, and some of that really amazingly intense green. In conclusion, I'm very excited to share with you the color-changing Azurium and its permathermochromic canvas.
I'll take it. Man, where was that video when I tried to light mine up, dude? That was beautiful what you were able to do with that thing. I just didn't know what I was doing and got white spots.
Is it just kind of fun with stick it in the drill? You don't even have to spin that fast. You just want it to stay in motion.
Okay.
And the drill makes it super easy to stay in motion. And by the way, when you're torching a piece of metal, there's a funny thing is going to happen. It might get hot.
Tell me about it.
And
That's on my video
the
too.
color change temperature is, we'll just say it's substantially above thermal extraction temperature. So it's going to get a little bit hard to hold unless you've got those like unbelievable fingers that can just hold really, really hot things and you
Chef's
don't even
hands.
flinch. Yeah.
Oh.
But even then, I still don't know if it'd be a good idea.
I dropped mine into a metal little cup so that it would, I mean, I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want anything to touch that thing. It gets so hot.
Yeah.
I mean, they get hot, and they hold it.
Oh yeah, that stainless holds some heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yours turned out really good.
Thanks.
It did.
Yeah, I loved yours.
I'm thankful that Pranav sent a couple extra caps. He said the caps were thin and they
Oh,
were
nice.
quickly overheated. So I had a couple extra tries on the cap, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, yours was dope. Yours and Pete's, I saw those. They look great, man. They look great.
Thanks.
I'm gonna get to work on mine.
So-
I've got to get it going.
Kind of a fun little side note when we're talking about this thermochromic or permathermochromic canvas.
Where's the
is-
Chronic?
Permachronic.
Inside.
It's in there already, man. It's in the
Not-
canvas.
I
It's in the
vaped it.
canvas.
You're gonna have to reload.
Okay. Is the colorization process that when you're using your torch is actually going to make the coating itself more durable, which is kind of fun.
And
Really?
what causes that?
Well, it's going to be a
Science.
process called, it's chemistry. Let's put it this way. And because I'm not sure if I could say nitridization quite correctly, okay? Because as we're heating it up, the titanium that's in the coating is reacting with the nitrogen in the air. It's also reacting with some of the oxygen, and you're forming some titanium nitrides, which is kind of fun.
It's really cool.
So
How
that-
come the rhosium doesn't change color?
It does, and it will.
Oh,
Oh.
We've just processed it slightly differently so that it already has some of the color change done, and so it's got a little bit more consistent inconsistency right out of the box. And for anyone that's wondering, well, are all the rhosiums the same? The answer is hell no.
No.
Not even close.
not even two.
No.
No.
I got 20 minutes of footage of Jerry trying to match stems and tips back there with
They're
the rhosiums.
beautiful, man.
He was
Yeah.
drooling, putting them in his pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome, man. Tell them that.
You're like that scene from I Love Lucy. Just
Pretty much, man. They're beautiful. They really are. There's
One
some that
for
are more
me,
blue,
one
more
for
green, more purple. They're awesome.
They are
and then
fabulous.
to expand upon that, Barely Bluegrass asks, can you expand upon that vapor deposition to create the colors? Like, what is it? Just like anodizing, putting it
Okay.
on there?
So it's a very different process than anodizing. So titanium anodizing is typically utilizing an electrolyte to conduct electricity between your anode and your cathode. And what this does is this allows for the creation of a very uniform coating of titanium oxide on the exterior of a piece of titanium. And it's that titanium oxide that, as the light is penetrating and the oxide layer itself and bouncing off the metallic surface and coming back through, you get a shift in this photonic spectrum, right? Shifts the wavelength a little bit. So it's a pain. It requires an electrolyte. It requires DC current, sometimes high voltage DC current. You want to watch out for that. With the PVD process, we're taking and cleaning and stripping all the oil and all the surface contaminants off of the metal, putting it in a vacuum chamber, pumping out as much of the air as we possibly can, and sometimes even admitting a little bit of some other trace gases into the chamber, which then can react with some of the coatings, which are then vaporized, and that vapor condenses on the surface of everything inside this chamber, just like when you breathe on a cold can of beer.
And then it's pretty.
Well, if you do it right, it's pretty. If you do it wrong, it's ugly. And the doing it right window is actually pretty narrow if you want to have things consistent. And this also explains part of the reason why the rhosium is the color that it is, the mixture of colors, is the way and the rate that the vapor that is created in this vacuum chamber. Believe it or not, sometimes they even use little miniature microwaves, like the magnetron inside the microwave. They'll aim a high-intensity microwave beam at a small sample of the material they're vaporizing to vaporize it. So they get it really, really hot. So literally taking something that might have a melting or temperature 3, 4, 5,000 degrees
Oh, that's up there.
and heating it up with microwaves until it evaporates. So metal and metal oxide vapors just going around, not smoke, vapor. And it'll condense, and it tends to condense a little bit more on some areas and a little bit less in other areas. And you can really see that, especially in these 2020Ms, because the metal thickness varies quite a bit. And so your rate of condensation is going to vary a little bit based on temperature, and as you're heating up this deposition chamber, certain parts are going to be slightly warmer than others on the actual device.
That's awesome.
Did you say metal vapor?
Metal vapor, metal oxide vapor, just general compound vapor. Because the cool thing about most materials, carbon being one of the main exceptions, almost all materials can exist in any of the 3 or 4 primary states of matter, right? Solid, liquid, gas, or plasma. Okay, and what we're doing here is we're just using a little bit of heat energy, and we're taking our coating material and we're evaporating it. So it's in a vapor, and it then can permeate the entire coating chamber and condense across all the surfaces.
I want to watch that.
The last time I saw that look on your face, George was talking about 3s, 6s, and 9s.
Yeah, that's right, man. It's crazy stuff, man. What happens if you torch a Phantom?
That's another thing that's so nice. Thanks for bringing that up. The Phantom, and I'm just going to grab this one because I think it's worth doing.
Right here, right now?
Right here, right now.
Oh, check this out.
The coating on the Phantom is very thermally stable. See, I went from glowing to not glowing, and here, I'll try and hold it nice and steady so we can get a focus in on this.
There you go.
Make it glow. And when it cools off, I have to set it down here pretty quick so it doesn't get too hot. It's the same color. So the Phantom, like last year, is by far our most scratch resistant and our most temperature resistant coating. I'm not saying you can't change the color with a torch on this, but you're gonna have to try a lot harder. And you might end up damaging some of the caps or the surfaces because you have to get them pretty darn hot.
And from what I understand, Ben Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms.
The bomb and Phantoms.
I got distracted. I had an idea seeing all the little Dynastashes and the vapes lined up. How cool would it be to have a little train set with all of them with a DynaVap on each, and they go by a heater and get heated up, and as they click, they come by.
Just
and
have
you can
little
grab it.
Orions like on the little different carts.
Right?
All aboard the induction train, huh?
Thomas the Tank Engine, man. That'd be dope.
You guys have some pretty talented engineers and automation guys here. I bet you guys can make something like that happen.
Well, and that kind of, I want to ask, because you got in yesterday,
They can build
both of you, and so you got to tour the facilities. I kind of want to pick your brains. What did you kind of, what were some of the favorite things that you got to see?
Oh, all the stuff that I can't talk about.
Right, thanks. What a lame question to ask. Stuff
welcome,
nobody
Jay.
will ever know about.
No, it's been great, and I think one of my favorite things is meeting the people that are like Tisha, who was assembling yesterday, and then today she was I think she was working on putting O-rings on tips. She was enjoying it. She liked her job. She liked the people. She was having fun. She had her own music playing. She was comfortable and had a soda. She was everything. Everybody's like that. Everybody's loves what they're doing. They're into it.
Well, if you're not happy with what you're doing, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, that's cool. It's good to see people that are like, it's like family.
Yeah, and you have both of you have a ton of fans here. Like, it's,
thanks.
you guys getting to come here, I'm sure it was like, holy shit, Troy and Jerry here, Troy and Jerry are here.
Dude, I was a geek outside coming in the DynaVap doors, man. It was great.
It's definitely great to see you guys here. And what was your favorite thing that you got to see that you can talk about?
No, it's funny you said that because I was thinking the same thing. I'd heard and seen videos and talked to people about, they talk about the DynaVap culture, and that's become something that people kind of know about. And I kind of was looking forward to come up here and just kind of, all right, let's feel that out a little bit, And like you said, everybody is just really enjoying their job, whatever it is, but in a real relaxed way, man. Like, I don't see anybody stressed out here. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but everybody's just really enjoying and relaxing, but in a way that you can tell they're on point and on focus and getting it done. So
Yeah, if you would have come like a little bit closer to Black Friday, it might have been a little bit different.
yeah, you're looking forward to that, right?
Black Friday's
Always.
your favorite time of year, isn't it, Josh?
I actually enjoy the high pressure stress situations because I find I perform better in them, but
Right.
it doesn't make them any less like hair graying.
And it's super awesome when you come out the other side.
Yep.
Right. And this is something that we really strive to kind of embrace here at DynaVap, and we'll take on the challenge. Doesn't really matter what it is, because every day of your life, you're going to be throwing challenges, some easy, some difficult. You either embrace them or you try and avoid them. And avoiding them, well, they just don't go away. You embrace them for what they have to teach you, and when you successfully come out the other side, that's where I think a lot of satisfaction in life is achieved, is overcoming those challenges.
And so Chase Freeman asked an awesome question. He said, I don't know if the crowd can ask questions directly, but I'd love to hear what George thinks about the future of DynaVap innovation and what Jerry and Troy hope the future of DynaVap is like. And so first, I'm going to have Troy and Jerry, you answer that, and then I would like to hear from you, George.
Okay.
What innovation I'd like to see from
Yeah, what would
DynaVap?
you like to see from us in the future?
Dude, we were actually talking about it on our show. I've dreamed about it forever. We need a waterproof vape. And then we were talking about having an induction heater built into the surfboard. You got skateboards and wakeboards and all kinds of shit here. Let's take this under the water, man. We talked about this just the other week. This is an easy one.
Well,
I was trying to get like all serious, like
Okay.
thoughts going.
Yeah, well, if there was a unicorn vaporizer that DynaVap could make, what would it be, Troy?
Whoa. That one would have been a nice warning question.
I wanted to get the raw reaction, Troy.
You know what you always say is the same thing but bigger for guys like us.
Yeah, but that's a greedy answer.
Yeah.
Like that's a greedy answer. Like I think that's what I would want out of a DynaVap rather than like
What
would
the
I
world
like?
needs.
Yeah.
Do you think it would have something to do with glass balls? Because that's
Well,
Maybe.
the glass balls are a solution. Maybe not necessarily something that's a flagship entry, but yeah, there is something that goes along with those types of vapes, and I think a lot of it is the experience that ball vapes are providing in terms of quicker extraction, and which matches the experience closer to what people are expecting out of their smoking devices. You know, they take one hit, they get a very thick cloud, and then they feel things immediately. When vapor gets closer to that, more people are more quickly satisfied and able to make that leap from exiting the smoke scene
Yeah.
and using a thermal extraction device.
the closest with the VAP cap is drawing when heating with the Orion.
Yeah.
Like that, it's really quick 1-2 punch and you're done. That chamber's clear.
I mean, I can take a single flame torch and I can get into it and I can visualize my heat getting into the flower and really give myself a thick, dense cloud that is super satisfying. And a lot of times I can do it and I can hand it to somebody and they'll get that satisfying hit. But to hand them a product and have them be able to get that right off the bat erases the learning curve, takes away the, I mean, it's not that those things are bad, because those things are character building. You build a relationship with your vaporizer as you learn to use it, and you learn to get however the amount of vapor you want out of it. But taking that away gives the ability to convert masses quickly. Right now, the people that convert are people that are intent-driven conversions. They don't want to smoke. There's
Right.
plenty of people that want to smoke, and we don't want them to smoke.
No. Did you ever smoke, Troy?
I did.
Oh, so you remember how that was, and you're pretty sure you don't want to do that again?
I'm sure that I don't want to do that again. And what's weird is I still have some of those cravings sometimes. Like when I smell it, it's like, oh, I kind of want to smoke a joint, but I always regret it when I do. Usually the moment, like, yeah, like what?
Doesn't take long.
Your mouth tastes like shit for a week, and
Yeah, I gotta go wash my hands and fingers and brush my teeth. I mean,
Clean
it's
your
not nearly
glass.
as bad as cigarettes, but
it still lingers.
yeah, I mean, when I combust accidentally, it's still not as bad as intentional combustion, because that type of, like when we did the smoking show on the Modern Cannabis thing, my wife complained about the smell for like a week.
Yeah, that was rough.
She like a week later, she's like, whatever vape you're using smells. I'm like, no, it's the smell.
It was that show.
Yeah.
That's classic. Yeah, I don't want that.
With both those answers in hand, George, what do you want the future of DynaVap to hold?
In my mind, the goal is to continue growing as a contributor of positivity into the Dynaverse, into the overall community, whether the people that are part of what we're doing right now, or people that hopefully will become part of it, to accelerate what I like to refer to as the transition away from combustion, or help more people understand that in any situation, lighting something that you're going to consume on fire, it's just no longer technologically necessary. We have solutions, and not just products that we make. And this gets to another question I saw here from 3-Minute Programming, right? What's a thermal extraction device? Well, a thermal extraction device is effectively any device that utilizes nothing more than heat for the extraction of various compounds, right? Because a lot of the things that you would put in one of our devices, you wouldn't just, take that material and just chew on it and eat it, right? To extract the compounds. Not that you can't, and there's not ways to do that, but utilizing a thermal extraction device allows you to take a wide range of biomass or botanical materials and using nothing more than heat. No chemicals, no solvents, no complex, expensive, fragile extraction equipment that needs to be very precisely controlled, like you're going to find in almost all pharmaceutical companies, right? Where you're trying to extract very specific things. No, you just put it in there, you heat it until it clicks, and boom, thermal extraction. So that's the goal. Reduce combustion, ideally accelerate that point in time where we as a civilization rarely, if ever, see someone lighting something on fire for consumption.
Unless it's a grill.
Hey. But you don't consume the grill.
No, you don't consume the grill.
No, or the fuel for the grill.
Have you ever tried like ginseng or anything of that?
Not ginseng, but a
Ginkgo
broader range of
biloba
things.
or
In fact,
ginkgo biloba or whatever?
Pranav says to me one morning, he's like, we're having kind of a little Zoom, and I put some peppermint tea in my Vap cap, and it was so good.
That sounds
It's
lovely.
delicious.
And it's like, okay. He's like, I've got some. You want to try it? It's like, sure. And so this was probably like 9 o'clock in the morning. So I loaded my device up with some peppermint tea, and it was awesome.
At the normal click, just like
Nice.
Yep. But if anything, normal click because I had a low temperature cap. And
So
I
you
would
want a
definitely
low cap.
recommend for teas staying on the lower end of the temperature spectrum.
All right.
Lower temperature cap, if you don't have that, heat closer to the groove on the cap, and you'll get a click at a lower temperature.
Have you tried lavender, George?
I have, and that's nice too.
Yeah.
And we got another interesting suggestion from our friends at Bear and Bottle and Michael was part of that whole situation. He's like, have you ever tried vaping hops? I'm like, huh, no, but I'll bet you it tastes like beer. And it does.
no kidding.
So you can have in your thermal extraction device, yes, you can use one of ours, but you can use other companies' devices as well. You can have a beer with 0 calories and no hangover.
Dude, my man was vaping coffee beans not long ago, and
Yeah,
you
how
did it
did
in a
you,
Vap
like-
cap, right?
Have you done
was-
that,
that was
since
awesome.
the video?
I vaped the rest of that bag.
The whole bag of beans?
Wow.
You vaped the whole bag of beans?
No, not the whole bag. So I started with what was not enough to make a pot of coffee.
Okay.
So this was like what I brought to my desk. So it was like a couple scoops worth.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, something I noticed when I played around with coffee and with the tea is the caffeine hits
It's a little,
like within 30 seconds.
yeah.
It's bang. It's super fast.
So you
I-
vape coffee too, huh?
I did
man.
test it using a little more, not scientific approach because it's hard to apply science with like
Any sort
consuming
of
things.
subjectivity to it.
But when I was tired, I vaped coffee beans at night, and I definitely felt like the perky, like
Oh, you get the
yeah,
Yep.
not gonna sleep anymore, Like I felt.
Did it keep you up all night or just a little?
No.
That's the other thing that's nice
30
about it.
minutes, 40 minutes later,
That's
I was
all I
ready
want.
to sleep.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Because so
vape
if we think
coffee.
about metabolism, right, and this is where we can talk a little bit about the difference between thermal extraction or vaporization and consuming, via something that's more edible or something that you drink. When you drink coffee, that caffeine takes anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes to really get into your system and take effect.
Right.
And the half-life is much, much longer. When you use a thermal extraction device, it's going to take effect very, very fast, and the half-life is much, much shorter.
Okay. And that's just across the
So-
board. You can expect that, right?
Across the board, not with everything, but with a broad range of various different compounds that you might consider for thermal extraction. And the other thing that's nice about a small thermal extraction device is you can just take a small little bit and put it down, and you're probably going to know what the effect of whatever that was is going to be within 15 minutes. Versus when you're consuming something, whether it's food or a drink, there's certain things that when you consume them, you may not realize the full effect for up to 2 hours.
That's why your Halloween episode last year was so fun.
Do you remember that?
That's how you know
We
it's good.
do.
What?
What?
What? Help me out here.
You bought a whole lot of candy. And
Oh, yeah. I remember now.
There you go. He's back.
And so Doc Anchovy asks, what would you recommend is best to remove fingerprints and oils to clean the DynaVap before heat treating?
Ooh. Well, alcohol certainly works well if you can find it. Acetone is a little bit more harsh, but does a pretty good job. Key thing with acetone is don't soak any components with O-rings on them in acetone, because the acetone will damage the O-rings. Alcohol will not. Acetone will.
Even with a long soak,
What's that?
the alcohol won't mess them
Nope.
up with a long soak?
Nope. So back when we transitioned our O-rings from black to gray, and keep in mind some of our black O-rings were the same material as our gray ones, okay? But the quad rings that are on the condenser used to be a slightly different material because they don't get that hot. But when we transitioned our O-rings to gray, we made all the O-rings the exact same material that would be very solvent resistant and much more temperature resistant. So another reason why we changed the gray is not just because the gray, I think, looks better with a lot of our devices, is to help differentiate the fact that the DynaVap O-rings are a FDA-approved Viton material, right? So they'll take the temperature that they're going to typically experience during thermal extraction, and there aren't many solvents that hurt them. Alcohol is fine. Most cleaning solutions, fine. Just wash it with acetone. It's just it's a little bit too harsh.
Right.
So I ought to get the oil off really well. Also, strongly encourage you to put on a pair of gloves first, not because the alcohol or the whatever cleaning solution you use is necessarily hard for your skin, but you don't want to be touching your brand new squeaky clean device with your fingers and putting more fingerprints on there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that for the Azurium as well when
Well,
you're doing the Azurium? Or
Good
just-
question. Yes, okay. Because the color change is a chemical reaction, okay? If your device is clean, the color change is primarily a temperature-induced chemical reaction between the coating and the atmosphere. If your device is dirty, it becomes a chemical reaction between the coating, the atmosphere, and whatever surface contamination is on your device. So, if you want to get fancy, you could get your fingers a little bit extra oily, put a big fingerprint right on your cap, and slowly torch that, and you could torch your fingerprint right into your cap, and now you got a permathermochromic fingerprint
Identification.
on your cap.
Forever yours.
That's my cap, dude. That's
DynaVap
my Vap cap.
biometrics.
And I can prove it.
That's right, man.
Is that a
I like
dynametric?
that.
There you go. And so we'll take one last question. This is from Adam H117. If you're coloring the cap, can that damage the thermostat?
Yes. However, the cap is likely to be pretty ugly by the time you get to that temperature. Okay. The cap is the most temperature sensitive metal part of the device. The O-rings are the most temperature sensitive part of the device. Okay. So if you're going to be colorizing any part of the device that has O-rings, please take them off. If you're going to be colorizing your cap, I would recommend that you, if you want a uniform color, keep your heat source further away, or potentially even keep your cap on your device, because the mass of the tip will help regulate and moderate some of that temperature rise. If you're using a little single flame torch and you're holding your cap with a tweezers or a needle nose pliers, the metal is so thin it'll get extremely hot very fast, and it'll go through the entire spectrum of potential colors, potentially within 1 to 2 seconds.
Yep.
So be very, very careful. It's all about a slow, methodical temperature change if you want to have the ability to stop at the color that you're looking for.
How precise can you line up different colors next to each other?
Well, more precisely on the cap than on anything else, because the metal's so much thinner, you can get one part of the cap really hot while the other part of the cap is not really hot. As you kind of saw when I was heating the other cap in my fingers, not burning my fingers. As you get into the tips and the stems that have a lot more mass, that heat's going to conduct, and you're going to get more of a gradual gradient of the temperature.
Right on.
I bet that thin lighter would make a almost pronounceable line on one of these Azurium caps.
It's actually not that good because the thermal intensity of the flame
It's too
is
soft?
actually lower
Okay.
than certain torches.
So okay, that's why my serpent torch wasn't quite hot enough to change the color of my Azurium.
The more focused your flame, the more distinctly you can get a colorization change.
Okay.
Now, other things that could be done, just to throw something out there for anyone that's curious, or maybe I shouldn't give that one away.
Come on.
Let's just put it this way. Color change with these devices is all about thermal management.
We can save some stuff for tomorrow.
Yes, we can.
Now, George, every time I look at you, I keep
There you
seeing
go.
this Illumify print
Tomorrow.
behind you. Now, these were done through the Collaborative Art Project, is that
Yes,
correct?
the Collaborative Art Project in the Dynaverse. And if you haven't joined the Dynaverse yet, I don't know why you haven't.
Where you been?
The Dynaverse Discord. Let's get another link to the Dynaverse Discord in the chat so you can join. This is an invite-only Discord. The only time we open the invites is during our live streams, sometimes on Instagram on Tea Time, which we do on our Instagram channel at 8:30 Central Time on Sunday. And it's a private group, so we can maintain the positive environment in that community. Lots of cool things. Collaborative Art Project was one of them, where we wanted to engage with the community. And it's a really cool picture. If you look carefully, you can see that the logo is constructed out of various different generations of our devices. And they did a really good job.
Yeah, this
I mean,
one
the
is done
proportions
by-
are just right.
This one is done by Chocolate Milk, and the other one is done by Monarch Rights, and they're both just stunning prints.
That's cool.
So these are available for purchase on our partner website, illumify.com, if you're interested, as well as a whole lot of other really cool pictures. And even better than that, if you have some of your own artwork, that's just really cool, and high contrast, colorful images work really well on this format. We have a tool on there where you can custom upload your own pictures, and we will work with you to get your images on a custom formed piece of metal. Okay, and if it's one of those pictures is like, holy cow, that's awesome, that we want to put on our walls, well, then we'll make you the picture for free and send it to you.
And I also need to congratulate our winners of the pumpkin guests. It is Scott, OD, and VW_Vonda. The
Congrats.
correct answer is
Well,
5. And
let's
why
do
is
this,
it 5,
Josh.
George?
Oops. Holy tangerine.
You're just gonna peel that
Oh.
pumpkin right there?
Yeah, I'm going to peel this pumpkin. Yes, there were 5,
Not 6.
not 6.
And so congratulations. So those 3 winners, once again, Scott, OD, and
Peel
VW
that pumpkin,
Vonda.
George.
Reach out to JC@DynaVap.com. You'll see her email up on the screen. And she'll just request some information. We'll get those out to you. So congratulations. And so once again, check out that Dynaverse Discord. And Jerry, where can people find some of your work?
These days, Planet of the Vapes. I got about 140 blog posts up there, all kinds of reviews and stuff. Otherwise, I've got an account on Fuck Combustion, obviously I've had forever. And then we're doing stuff every Friday night, including tomorrow night.
How do they find you on Fuck Combustion?
6 Stones.
Stick Stones. And what about you, Troy? What do you have coming up?
420 Vape Zone is where to find me. That's where I should be, because YouTube is always crapping out.
Yep, you have a lot of CGI in your videos.
I do. All the vapor in my videos is CGI.
You're like the best at that shit too, man. Like it's amazing. Like no joke.
It's
That's got to take you hours to edit all of the video content you put up there.
Hardest worker.
hours.
It's amazing. None of them look the same.
It's a tetrahydrocannabinoid technology that I use.
Okay.
And so, yeah, definitely check 420 Vape Zone out and Planet of the Vapes. And we want to thank you all for tuning in. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And click the bell so that way you're always notified when we release new content like this. Also follow us on Instagram. You can do live streams with George. That's tea time. And when do you have those, George?
8:30 Central Time on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. And make sure you check out that
That's
Discord.
8:30 p.m. or 20:30 for those of you that prefer it that way.
Mm-hmm.
True.
And tomorrow night on the Troy and Jerry Think Tank,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
George is going to be here and we're going to take over the studio.
We're gonna mess with
So-
things, man. It's gonna be fun.
So check that out and check out that Discord. There's a lot of cool stuff. We're going to be doing our watch party once again. It's at 6 p.m. tomorrow. You just need the Chrome extension Netflix party. If Ben can throw up some of the details there for people, you can go on our website as well. There will be.
Did
a
you say
community-
chromic?
I don't know. I may have.
Permachronic?
Chromic extension?
Chronochromic.
Chromic extension?
But the page is the community events. Is that right, Coley? And so check that out. We'll have the link and the vaping game rules on there. I want to thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next time on November 15th, which is a Wednesday. It's our Black Friday show. Or
And
no,
that's-
not 15th, 25th. And so we really want to thank both of you for joining up. I know it was quite a trip for both of you. And
Oh, it's just
really,
miserable.
Really appreciate it.
It's been absolutely horrible getting up here and hanging out with you guys, and this has been awesome, man. I can't believe you're thanking me for being here. It's been
Yeah.
great, man.
It's great. It's always a joy seeing both of you. I like getting to interact with you, and it's nice seeing it on this turf and not having to jump in a plane. And
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, thanks for getting on the pain and going through the pain to come see us this time.
No, this was great, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us out. And I want to shout out Pranav. Pranav's been awesome. Pranav's been hauling us around and dealing with Jerry's got a writer of like picking out the green M&Ms and providing the Airbnb. Yeah, so
And Pranav's hair was on point this time.
Pranav
dude.
has been nailing it.
unbelievable. So, thanks.
Pranav got to try the SSV 43 last night.
Yeah, and so did you get any footage of it?
No, I didn't. But
I would have loved to have seen that.
there's tonight.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again.
And so, yeah, and there's what Pranav did for the very first time a couple of years back. He'd never carved a pumpkin before. And so we'll see what other firsts he'll get into this year.
And that's when he started growing his hair.
He does not look like that now.
No, he looks definitely poofed out a little bit.
Yeah, baby.
And so is there anything else that you'd like to add before we,
Are we gonna see
say
his hair?
goodnight?
Can we get his hair out? Are we gonna get his
Oh,
hair out?
there is one thing I want to show. And so we have these new shirts on the website. These were designed by Michael.
That's cool.
They're the Bomb Pop shirts.
The Bomb
They're
Pop.
really, really cool. Probably my favorite merch that we've come out with so far. So if you want one of these, check them out on the website. You can find this shirt as well as these color M's on the website now.
Hurry up before I take them all home with me, man. I'm lifting stuff all day long here. It's great.
He has been lifting stuff.
Yeah, so
all
order it
day.
now.
Actually, you're on day 2 of lifting stuff.
I got a
Jerry.
pile, bro. It's awesome.
And so we'll see you on November 25th, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Peace out.
Thanks, Dynaverse.
Thanks for watching DynaVap Live. Please check out some of our other episodes or some of the other cool videos on our YouTube channel.